Howdy, folks. I'm Proud Prancer, persistently pranking playful parakeets.
I'm Amber.
And here are more playful parakeets for us to prank. Like we changed out the litter in their cages with confetti. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Going Through a Women's Only Thanksgiving? This has to do with my whole family. Last Easter, all of the women in the family got really mad that all of the guys, besides one, Tim, sat on their butts. It was like pulling teeth to get them to help out. So for the 4th of July, we had them plan everything. It didn't go well, and they just grilled. No sides, no drinks, nothing. I brought up the idea that if they won't help for Thanksgiving this year, we should just kick them out and have a women's only Thanksgiving. I informed my husband, and I was serious about it. The rest of the women did as well, besides my mother-in-law, since she's a widow. The day came, and I told them that they needed help or we would kick them out. They sat on their butts and watched the game. They couldn't even bother to set the table. They did nothing, so we kicked them out. This was at my mother-in-law's place. They were mad, and it came out that it was my idea, and I'm getting so much garbage from the guy's side that I'm now questioning if I went too far. Also, I know this will be asked, 2 kids, girls, and they are teenagers who did help without asking. They actually thought it was funny. Tim helps at Easter, but not Thanksgiving. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. They were told there would be consequences if they didn't help, and they just suffered the natural consequences. I mean,
my, is it the consequences of our actions?
like, it's just so rude to just sit on your butt and expect people to prepare a meal for you. Like, they can't be bothered to help with setup, probably with cleanup either. Literally nothing. They just expect the women to wait on them hand and foot. Like, this seems very well deserved.
Yeah, I don't think that OP went too far. It does seem like it was well deserved. It seems like it was a long time in coming. And I can't blame OP and the rest of the women for being annoyed and upset that the men aren't pulling their weight. And so, yeah, I think this is perfectly reasonable. They gave them plenty of forewarning that this would be happening.
And they all could have easily, gotten a meal if they had just pitched in a little bit. Like, they weren't asking the moon.
No. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. And Firestarter126784 says, not the jerk. They had plenty of warning. Make sure that this continues to be the tradition going forward. One question. You said that Tim helps out, so he wasn't kicked out, right? In this case, instead of women only Thanksgiving, it's people that participated in helping Thanksgiving. This is absolutely understandable. If everyone helps, it's a shared load that is quickly accomplished. Hopefully, the other family members are sticking up for you. And OP replies, he helped out at Easter and not Thanksgiving, so we did kick him out. He was chill about it though. It's nice that Tim was chill about it. And Different Mirror 100 says, not the jerk. Congratulations on being a great role model for the girls. Hopefully they learn that nobody gets to trample their boundaries without consequences. I like my male family members very much, and they do help, but a woman-only get-together sounds great too. I hope you had fun and didn't have the mood crushed by the men. Please tell me that your husband isn't trying to give you garbage. If he does, please update with your appropriate responses. And OP replies, it was really fun actually. After dinner, we opened some wine and just had a great time. I'm so thankful for my mother-in-law. She is the one who did the kicking out, and everyone knows not to mess with a retired coal mine worker. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Leaving the Church Even Though They Can't Run Service Without Me? I'm a 21-year-old female, and I recently left the church that I grew up in. It was a very hard decision and a long journey for me, but I've worked through some stuff and the fear and guilt that was keeping me there. While I was attending church, I was a very integral part of the service. I was the only person in the church that could play the music and sing. Every week, I would work with a pastor to pick out worship music based on his sermon that week. And then on Saturday, I would essentially run a one-man worship concert. I did this for about 6 years since I was 15. Another important thing to mention is that I'm gay. I've known since high school, and so have my parents. They're surprisingly supportive considering the conservative church that we have been attending for as long as I can remember. I've never been in the closet, but I've also never publicly come out on social media or anything like that. The one time that I brought my girlfriend to church, everyone thought that she was just a friend, that I was trying to convert. Well, 2 weeks ago was a breaking point. Our pastor's sermon was about how the world is becoming more inclusive. It was a long and frankly awful sermon, but the part that finally got me to leave was when he mentioned how all the kids are gay now, and how our whole generation needed to, quote, either repent or burn in hell eternally. Before this happened, I knew that our denomination wasn't exactly welcoming of the LGBTQ plus community, but to hear it so bluntly stated in front of everyone was something else, and I couldn't keep living in blissful ignorance. I decided that after the service, I would no longer take part in a church who didn't like people like me. The next week, when he called me to arrange to meet about the church service for that week, I politely explained that I would no longer be taking part or attending his church anymore. I tried to keep it civil, just telling him that our views and theologies didn't align anymore, and that for both of our sakes that I was leaving. He freaked out, telling me that it wasn't fair to him or the rest of the congregation that I would leave so abruptly without making alternate arrangements to replace the music. He tried to demand that I come back until he could find someone else, but I declined and then I hung up the phone. Since then, I've had countless church members telling me how disappointed they are that church has been canceled and how I should make things right with God and come back to the church. I have also had the pastor reach back out asking if I would teach guitar to his son if I was really going to leave forever. I have declined. My parents have mentioned that it was rude to leave abruptly as I did without giving anyone any chance to try and find a replacement. So, am I the jerk for leaving the church with nobody to replace me, essentially making it so that church is canceled until they find a replacement? Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. You know what is rude and not fair? Telling someone that they are going to burn eternally for their sexuality.
Yeah.
This, finding someone to, first of all, church isn't just about the music. Like, there's no, even if they all are somehow really bad singers and can't sing, he could still give a sermon.
So, I think that this is a really unfair situation to poor OP here. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that they made it abundantly clear that OP wasn't welcome in the church. And whether they meant to or not, they sent home this message. And I think that it was unfair to expect OP to continue to be in a church that wasn't going to accept them. And also, if they really do hold these views, then would you really want somebody who you think is morally corrupt in front of the whole church doing these services? So, I'm not saying that this is right. I'm just saying that it seems like hypocrisy for them to sit there and say, on one hand, that OP is condemned, and on the other hand, to tell OP to continue to lead the church's music service.
Well, and also, the pastor literally gets paid to do this job, to run the services. He's asking OP to do his work for him, like, oh, you can't leave without finding me someone?
Yeah.
Are you paying OP? I don't think so. Like, literally, dude, that's your job.
Yeah, and that's another good point, is that this is, he's being paid to do a job, and this is part of the job, is finding replacements for these kinds of things. And I understand the frustration, but there are other church members, and they can step forward, and they can lead the service, and they can lead the music part of the service. It doesn't have to fall all on OP. And what happens if OP had been sick or something else, right? Then she wouldn't have been able to lead the service anyhow. So it's not good to rely on one individual for all of your needs, period. Mm-hmm. But especially, I think that this is a situation that is kind of their own creating in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, and what if she gets a job elsewhere? I mean, they took a 15-year-old child and kind of are like, oh, you're going to run this music now. Mm-hmm. And children grow up, they have jobs and lives, and they couldn't expect her to just serve the church for free forever.
No, and I think that was pretty short-sighted, and I'm glad that OP is able to move on, and I hopefully that they can explore their faith in another congregation that will be a little more accepting for them. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Urbany ETI 0 says, not the jerk, this is religious guilt tripping 101. You are so vital that without you nothing can happen. All you've got to do is deny who you are and conform with our views and be subservient to our demands. I hope that you can find the peace and happiness that you need in a community that welcomes you for you. And I actually think that's a good point, that there is no reason that they have to cancel church. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think you said something to that effect, but this is them trying to guilt trip OP and be like, you're the person who's responsible for all of the bad things that are happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and again, like, if the minister is canceling church, he's the one who's making that decision,
Yeah.
not OP. Like, the way, like, again, OP's not the one being paid. Like, it's his literal job. And if he can't do his job, maybe they need a new pastor.
Yeah. And FDAR says, does it even have to be canceled? Can't they just do the worship songs with just the congregation singing? Won't be as pretty, of course, but surely that's not the point. And Tazalina Taxaro says, I'm Catholic, and we don't have singers. The priest starts the song and everyone sings along. We have a pipe organ, but when the musician is sick, we do without. A singer/choir and guitarist is only on special occasions like weddings or Christmas. And Mysterious P 5008 says, not the jerk. Maybe the next time that your needy pastor calls, you should tell him that you've realized something that he has yet to. So you're willing to help him out. The fact is that anytime a person or group decides that there is another type of person who doesn't belong in heaven alongside them, they miss out on all of the wonderful things that that type of person can bring to the world. Tell him that you're surprised and disappointed to see that he is not as interested in the state of your soul and salvation as he is in what your service that you can provide to his family and the congregation. Alright folks, and our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Make Lasagna for Christmas After What My Mother-in-Law Did Last Year? I'm a 30-year-old female, and I've been together with my husband Michael, a 31-year-old male, for 7 years. Married for 3 and dating for 4. My mother-in-law, a 58-year-old female, has always hosted Christmas ever since I've known him. I've always made lasagna for Christmas and other special occasions. I'm essentially the family lasagna maker, and I honestly don't really mind since I love to cook and bake. However, last year my mother-in-law decided to make lasagna based off of what she saw me doing when she was at my house, and a recipe that she got off the internet. I was surprised that she prepared a pan of her own, but didn't say anything, and even got a small piece. It did not taste good, and it was barely touched, whilst mine had almost half gone near the end of the dinner. That infuriated my mother-in-law, and she wound up doing a rant about how everyone loves me more. Then she tried to throw my lasagna in the trash. I say tried because it mainly ended up on the floor. Michael and I quickly left after that, and my mother-in-law has not apologized for it since. Yesterday, she called me to confirm that I was making it for Christmas this year, and on her list of things that I should make was lasagna. I politely said that I wasn't going to make lasagna due to last year's incident, and that I would be happy to make anything else. My mother-in-law wasn't as polite and called me vindictive for refusing to make lasagna over a small mistake. I just refused once more, and it made my mother-in-law angrier. So she told me that unless I show up with lasagna in hand, she wouldn't let me into Christmas. My husband said that it's easier just to make the lasagna to keep the peace, and that I shouldn't hold my mother-in-law's mistake that she made out of anger against her. Word got to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law from my mother-in-law, and they're saying that I should make it even if it's just half of what I would usually make. Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. OP's husband is being totally spineless, as are his sister and brother. They all need to have a talking to with the mom, tell her what she did was unacceptable.
I have a little bit of a different take here. I think that it's not so much spinelessness as they want her lasagna. I think that they are like, we don't want to miss out on OP's lasagna because it sounds like it's a favorite dish of everyone, right? It sounds like something that people really enjoy and want to eat. And they're looking out for themselves and just being like, just make the lasagna. I think that it's the wrong motivation for sure.
Well, yeah, either way, like, they're not being good people
No,
here. They
no.
should be backing OP up. They should be chewing out mother-in-law. Like, that's their family. They should handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, OP, you're under no obligation to make lasagna. If they really want lasagna, your husband can make it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that OP is absolutely under no obligation to make the lasagna, and I think that the demands here are just absurd.
And honestly, it sounds like it might be a blessing in disguise. Oh, I didn't make the lasagna. I can't be at your house. Oh, well, I guess I'll go enjoy Christmas Eve doing something that I want to do instead of hanging out with someone who throws my food on the floor when she has a tantrum.
Yeah, And I think that had she apologized, OP would be a little more understanding and potentially even have gone out of their way to make lasagna. But it doesn't sound like she feels like she's appreciated by her mother-in-law, and that her mother-in-law is just trying to sweep this whole thing under the rug as opposed to actually take ownership for what she did and apologize for it.
Right, well, these two instances just paint the mother-in-law as a bully, because first she throws the lasagna, and secondly, then she's like, well, you can't come to my Christmas unless you make lasagna.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like mother-in-law is a good person. Her family needs to stand up to her and not just be like, oh, it's just easier if we just do whatever she says.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. And Marywin says, sounds like your husband just volunteered to make the lasagna, not the jerk. And Professional Ruin 953 says, premeditated, self-destructive, failed strategy, not a mistake. This woman wanted, for whatever reason, to upstage OP, went through with the effort of trying to make OP's signature dish and did a poor job of it, then proceeded to rampage with revenge to destroy OP's leftovers. There are way too many deliberate actions in that event for any of her chosen behavior to be a mistake, and she has not apologized. I would be insisting that the husband joins OP in whatever other Christmas celebration she prefer to attend from now on. They can send a cheap frozen lasagna to mother-in-laws as their RSVP no. I don't think that's unfair.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very good point, too, that, yeah, there's no mistake here. It was all premeditated. It was all deliberate.
Yeah. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
First invisible person. Do you miss me when I was gone? Second invisible person. Were you gone?
Poof! Vanished. Without a trace. And I have Mega Mint.
Yeah, I like how the joke assumes that the invisible people don't communicate in any way, shape, or form. Like, they only know if the other one's there, if they see them.
Yes. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday. Folks, we've got the start of the week ahead of us. I don't know what that means exactly, but you can figure it out. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it in 10 words or less.
Save the lasagna for those who appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that works. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!